we will show you in a short while, is that the 60% of profit was coming from there, for 16% from machinery rentals, and 24% from buying and selling. The post-harvest handling, it's not actually zero, it's like less than 0.5%, so it's rounding up to 0%, but that also brought in some amount of profit. And sorry, now did anyone had any? Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes, Naik, we are hearing.
Sorry. Yeah. So the advisory services they are providing, that was not valid at monetary terms. Of course, it has a value for the farmer. So now let's talk about our objectives and research questions. Like, what was our goal in this research? Our overall objective was to document what role the SFSA Farmers Hub play in the community, what products, practices, and services these businesses provide to smallholder farmers and the community. And we had few specific research questions like, how do farmers hubs operate in the innovation system? How do agricultural researchers contribute to and interact with farmers hubs? What is the impact of hubs at the community level? What other roles could hubs serve in the community? What digital tools are currently used in farming, from the aspects of the hubs that we studied. The methods we followed included both qualitative and quantitative approaches. A questionnaire-based survey for both participant farmers of the hubs and non-participant farmers living in the vicinity of the hubs was designed. This was our main quantitative method. When we designed this study, so the data we collected was of June 2020. There were 286 hubs across 3 divisions of Bangladesh under 4 networks. We excluded the hubs that were established in 2020. That automatically excluded one of the divisions where the hubs existed. And eventually we selected 6 hubs. I'm going to come back to that in a second. We selected 2 hubs for the study. And then in 23 there were 168 participant farmers and so we did the qualitative part, where we made some scoping trips. We visited the locations, the field where these hubs are operating. We talked to different stakeholders. We interviewed different experts related to this field. We had discussions, and we also did a participant observation, where a researcher was based in one of the hubs for a longer period of time, documenting everything that is going on there. And again, a few notes about the locations where the studies were done. So the 3 divisions where these hubs existed are Rangpur, Rajshahi, and Khulna. And we chose the Rangpur and Rajshahi division, where in Rangpur division, there are a number of ethnic Santal hubs operating. So from there, we purposely choose one of those hubs and then randomly choose 2 other hubs. And from Rajshahi divisions, where there are 2 networks operating, we choose 2 hubs from one of the networks and 1 hub from another network. So that gave us a total of 6 hubs for as a sample for the study. And then we, of course, choose the farmers. The sampling distribution for the farmers are there. I'm not going into details of that right now. If anyone has any question, we can come back to that. So then we did the survey, we recruited our enumerators, we trained them, and then they had to go to the field to collect data. Again, I must acknowledge that during the time of this data collection, that was also one of the worst times when the Delta variant of the COVID virus was really, it led to several restrictions. So sometimes we had to stop our data collection, waiting for better times, but eventually, our enumerators were able to collect the desired number of samples that we wanted for this study. We also, as I was saying, we made several visits to the field. We visited basically some of the 3 network managers in these 2 divisions. We interviewed several people. We visited the SFSA Research and Development Center in Rangpur. And we also had several online meetings due to the pandemic and other reasons. For example, we had several rounds of meeting with the SFSA Bangladesh staff, and also we talked to Department of Agricultural Extension and several times. So now, before again we present the findings, I would like, so the total time we had for the study was very limited. This study was originally designed for 6 months, so that's one of the major limitations of this study.
Sorry,
and also this study was done more from the perspective of,
sorry, Nahid, you are dropping in and out.
yes.
Maybe you should take your video off and then show the slides, and then you could put it on later.
Okay, so does this make anything better? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, sorry about that, network issues, I think. So yeah, the study was focused on the farmer. So we were basically trying to understand the impact of these hubs on the farmers, on their farming practices, and so on. So that was the main goal or orientation of the study. Also, it was very broad in scope. If you had seen our research questions, you would have seen that we are asking the impact of these hubs on the farmers from on various dimensions. So maybe a more targeted approach could have given us more specific results. So those are the limitations we had, as well as the COVID situation, the COVID-19 restrictions that actually limited the amount of field work we could do, and also it made sort of everything difficult. So now let's talk about, despite all those limitations, what we have seen, what we have observed from this study. So here, but if you are visiting any of these hubs, one of the most distinctive things you would see is the production and selling of vegetable seedlings. Here we are showing different stages of these operations, where these seedlings are grown in cocoa peat-based soil-less media on plastic trays. So they don't need the soil to grow, and they have certain features, certain advantage of these type of seedlings. And this is the now, if we look what our data says about the role of these seedlings for the farmer, in this table, you can see these are in our survey, we asked the farmers, what are the sources of your seeds and seedlings in percentage terms, from different sources like own sources, retailers in the market, and so on. And here we are presenting data by participant and non-participant. You can see that while for the non-participant, the largest portion of their seeds or seedlings, these are combined figures, while that is coming from either their own source or from retailers in the market, you can see for the participants of the hub, while they are also acquiring seeds from these sources, but their largest proportion, these are basically seedlings coming from the farmer's hub. Next, as we said, that the hubs are renting machineries. So here, but we have seen that there are about 7 types of farm machineries offered by the hubs, but not all of them are widely used. We see that among the 7, the powered sprayer in this survey, about 63% of the participants said they are aware that the hub is providing that, and 47% were using that. Again, to note that not all hubs are providing all types of services, so it is possible that many of the hubs in when we surveyed many of the farmers, the hubs they are associated with may not offer any machinery at all. So the next results I would like to show is the vegetable output hubs do not purchase vegetable. We're not presenting data for all the 6 hubs, rather the one hub that purchase the vegetable at a significant quantity. We are presenting data for that. Here again, we ask the farmers what they basically do with their vegetable output, whether they consume or they sell it in the local market or sell it to the middleman and so on. You can see while the non-participant farmers, they are selling most of their output to the middleman or the local market I mean, middlemen for selling to the local market or middleman for selling to the distant market. You can see for the participant farmer, those figures are again, they do sell to those places or those people as well, but they also sell about 1/4 of their output, about 27 to 28% of their vegetable output to the farmers hub directly. However, I mean, this is not the only way that the farmers hub would help a farmer sell their output, because this is the direct purchase of the output. They also help farmers link with distant buyers. So from our survey, 42% of the participants that said that they got access to better forward linkages through the hubs. The next type of services we will talk about is the agri advisory services. Again, we don't have monetary valuation for this, but we can see that what proportion of farmers have been benefited through this. Here, different columns represent different types of information. For example, information on choice of crop, choice of variety, fertilizer use, pesticide use, and weather. There were more dimension studies, but we left out some for this graph. And different colors represent different sources. For example, the gray area represents information received from Farmers Hub, and the orange family and friends, and the yellow is from extension agents, and so on. You see the top columns are for the non-participant farmers, and the bottom ones are for the participant farmers. You can see that the participant farmers, they are receiving a significant portion of the information. Like the Farmers Hub is one of the significant source of their information for these services. Of course, other sources are also there. Now, the next thing I'd like to talk about is the SFSA Research and Development Center. So this is in Rangpur, and what happens here is in this center, they're not necessarily developing any new variety or technology, but they are trialing different available technologies, whether it's seeds or something else available in the market. So the most common technologies that are available in the market, they will be doing trials of these varieties side by side, so to understand what is working best and what is most suitable for a certain context. We feel that this is something sort of unique, because, like, of course, we have agricultural research organizations in Bangladesh which are working to develop new varieties, and that is, of course, a very important process. But such type of trialing of available technologies in the market is not something very commonly seen. So I think, and then the information they get from here that are passed on to the farmers through the channel, through the network managers and the hubs. Now, in order to explain the role of these services on the farmer, we have drawn two diagrams. The first is a simplistic view of how a typical farmer is connected to the market and the research network. In this diagram, in the bottom, you see there is a farmer who is connected with several local traders or middlemen, or either for buying input or selling his output, who connect him with other buyers or other sellers. And here in this diagram, the solid lines represents the flow of goods and services, and the dotted line represents the flow of information. So the farmer might receive information through these traders, which were generated in private research centers, but they also might receive information generated in our public agricultural research centers, either directly or through the Department of Agricultural Extension. Now, if we bring in the Farmers Hub in this picture, then we see while the farmer still has that connection with the local trader and local buyer and so on, the Farmers Hub and this network basically adds an extra layer that is adding value to those connections. So as I was just saying, the Syngenta Foundation has that research and development center. So information generated there that can come through the network manager to the Farmers Hub to the farmer, and also these network managers and Farmers Hubs, they might have direct connections with the Department of Agricultural Extension, where they can seek and transfer information to the farmer. Also, SFSA is connected with the Public Agricultural Research Center. So if there is a problem, there is a question that is not being solved, then they can ask for their advice and their help. Also, they could seek help from the SFSA Global Research Team. So that these connections help to pass information to the farmers. Also, the farmers' hubs and the networks, they help connect the farmer to the distant buyer and the distant seller. They made those links, make those connections. Now, next, the next aspect I'm moving on is to the impact on the productivity. Here, we are not showing the specific numbers for changes in productivity. Rather, this is the perception of change in productivity of the farmer, either it's a participant or non-participant, that how their in which direction their productivity changed between 2018 and 2021. You can see that both for both categories of farmers, the change in productivity is in the positive direction. So it's either increased greatly or increased moderately. However, for the participant farmers, more responded that their productivity increased greatly during this period, while for the non-participant farmers, the largest amount was largest proportion of respondents said that their productivity moderately increased. And then when we asked about the reasons for changes in productivity, we see that some of the reasons we came up with very similar numbers, like seed or seedling quality or mechanization and so on. But in case of some aspects, for example, 93% of the participant farmers said that adoption of a new crop or a variety was the reason for change. While for the non-participant farmer, it is very similar, but it is slightly lower. That amount, almost 90% said that their change in productivity was due to adoption of new crop or variety. Another thing was where there was a distinction was a shift from seeds to seedlings. So you can see that about 31% of the participants said that their change was productivity was due to this shift, which is one of the things. The seedling selling is one of the things that these hubs do. Now, the next aspect of change in practices is we try to understand the changes in environmental practices of the farmers. So basically, we are trying to understand the farming practices that are related to that has some environmental impact. So we asked the survey respondents about environmental practices they had trialed or adopted. We have used a very broad definition of environmental practices here. As you can see that we included a lot of practices. You can see the practices in the bottom of this slide, that using advanced machinery that has an impact on the environment, or using balanced fertilizer, or using crop rotation techniques, or managing residual retention, or using water saving technologies, application of minimum pesticide, and so on. There are several technologies. There were more. We left out some for this presentation. So we asked about these questions that and when the way we collected the data is we asked what practices they are doing now and what was happening in 2018. And then we also asked the respondents to categorize each practice as complete adoption, partial adoption, or no adoption. And say whether they are whether in 2018 they had complete adoption or no adoption or partial adoption, and what's the situation in 2021. Now, what this graph is showing is the change in the rates of complete adoption of the farmers. So if it's the orange areas, then it's the orange bars, then it's the participant farmers. If it's the gray bars, then it's the non-participant farmers. But then the height of the column is showing the change in the complete adopters of these practices. Again, these are self-reported figures, but that is what we got from the survey. And what we learned from here is for several practices like use of advanced machinery, or using balanced fertilizer, using residual retention, and so on. Wherever you see this red arrow, the higher proportion of participants completely adopted this practice. While in case of these two aspects, like using the pheromone trap or using environment-friendly waste disposal techniques, the higher proportion of non-participant farmers, their adoption rate change, their complete adoption change between these two time periods. Now, we also asked in this survey about questions about what other services the hubs could offer. Other means other than agricultural services. So we got a wide range of responses here. For example, we had answers like they could form farmers club or provide training for farmer. They could provide educational facilities, whether it's for children or for adults, where they could offer health facilities like a vaccine center or some other healthcare clinic or something like that, provide financial support and so on. There is a wide range of answers. We are not showing all of them. The other aspect we studied in this survey is the use of digital tools in farming. So we used a very broad definition for use of digital tools in this survey. We explained to the survey participants that the definition of digital tools we were using for this activity, including any sort of electronic device that is not farm machinery. So it could be a phone or a computer and so on. Also, it could be, we could be talking about a hardware or a software or like an app. So we did this survey based on that very broad understanding. And one of the things we observed is this is about the type of phone they are using, not necessarily for agricultural purpose, but in general. So what we have seen that as of now, whether it's the participant farmer or the non-participant farmer, like between 21 to 23% of them are using the smartphone, while the vast majority are still using the feature phone or the button phone that we used to know. And that sort of limits what type of functions that that can be used for farming. Now, when we ask about what digital tools they are using for farming, you can see both for the participant and non-participant farmer, we see about 70% of them are using the mobile phone. Either they are talking with some other farmers or extension agents or scientists or some market agent, a trader or someone. So this is basically the main type of digital tool they are using. While some farmers did report using some more advanced options like using mobile apps or using the social media, you can see that these are not very high proportions. While about 20 to 23% of the farmers said they're not using any digital tools in farming at all.
Sorry to interrupt, Nahid.
Yes?
You just have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I will finish in 5 minutes. So here is just a slide on the SFSA has an app called eFarmers Hub, which is not for the farmers. This is basically used for the hubs, the hub owners. They keep record of their transactions and they can receive summary statistics of the operation, also some market information from this hubs, from this app. We also asked the question of what other digital tools the farmers would like to use for the in future, basically for farming. And again, we received a wide range of responses, like using the smartphone, using apps for agriculture, using computer and mobile phones, so on. Again, there might be some overlapping between these answers. So some might be hardware, some might be software, but we got an idea of what the farmers, what was their demand in terms of use of digital tools in the future. Here, one of the interesting things is you see that despite this broad understanding of these digital tools, we about 30 to 29 to 30% or 31% of the farmers reported that they don't know or they don't have any specific desire to any use of any digital tools. So of course that might limit of what type of to what extent we can use digital tools. We also asked during our expert interviews the DAE staff and researchers about digital tools of our what the farmers use. They said that the farmers, the more relatively more educated ones, do currently access the DAE services and information using smartphones and also maybe videos from social media and so on. And also in our survey, we did see that some farmers are using the social media in some capacity, but that is not still widespread. I would like to know from our distinguished audience that are here that what do you think about this? How we can sort of facilitate the use of digital tools for the farmers? The other aspect we have seen in the study, or we wanted to see in the study, is the involvement of women and youth in these hub activities. We have seen that there have been employment opportunities created for women in seedling preparation. However, we haven't seen many women involved as entrepreneurs, either as hub owners or they are the farmer who are interacting with the hub. So women, we know that women do play an important role in farming activities in the household, but they're not usually typically the leader of the farm household. So these type of role are usually taken by men. So maybe diversifying hub activities to include those farming tasks that are the responsibility of women in the household would be one way to engage women, but maybe not the only way. We would also like to hear from the distinguished audience about what their thoughts are here. And again, about the involvement of youth, we have seen that the hubs have been more successful at attracting young entrepreneurs and developing their capacity to lead a farm business. There is some evidence from a survey that the participant farmers are generally a younger age cohort, and they are still developing their knowledge and skills to become effective farmers. This is a picture of one of the hub owners. So now I'm towards the end of this presentation, and we would like to draw a few conclusions from what I have been saying. Is that we have seen that our small study has shown how these hubs play an important role in innovation and local adoption of agricultural technology and practice change. We have seen that hubs help adopt new technology to local conditions. This is one of the harder to measure aspects of participation in hubs and other collective groups. That is mitigation of risk associated with practice change through support and knowledge. This is especially important for new farmers to enable them to try new practices. The SFSA Farmers Hub has extended certain services to the doorstep of the farmer and has greater potential to upscale. So we also have a few recommendations. First of all, a few recommendations to SFSA is like finding ways to diversify and expand their services. Like we have seen that their machinery rental service is there, but to how to upscale that. And also, I haven't talked much about this, but they have initiated a crop insurance program. So to think of ways of how to make that useful or to for the farmers. And one of the most important, one of the most biggest challenges our farmer face in Bangladesh is the selling of their output. So how to increase the output purchase by the hubs, like aggregating, processing, and potentially exporting output. And also there is, we think there is room for increased collaboration with the Department of Agricultural Extension and public research organizations. We also have observed a number of areas where there could be further research related to this study, where there could be a larger survey of hubs incorporating financial analysis of their operations, and that could include other countries. These hubs are also run by SFSA in some other countries, so there could be a more comprehensive study of those aspects. There could be more research in understanding how to involve the women entrepreneurs in these activities. We could look at ways to facilitate aggregation and processing of farm output. I just said a while ago that SFSA should look to do that more, but I understand that is a more challenging thing to do. So there should be more research of how to make that more efficient and useful, and also how to expedite the digitalization given the current state of technology use. Of course, we see that the mechanization and digitalization in agriculture is happening, but how the hubs or in general this process can be further expedited given the current state of technology use, given the education level of farmers, how we can do that. Maybe there is scope to explore that further. So that's basically all from my side. I would like to again thank everyone who have joined and who have contributed immensely for this study. Yeah, so thank you very much. If anyone has any comments or questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Nahid.
So thank you very much, Nahid. There is some questions coming through on the chat area here. There is a question about the profit share for post-harvest and why it is low, but I'm not 100% clear on the question. So I might see if Fuad Hassan can actually unmute and expand on that question now.
Nahid, can you stop sharing your screen?
And we'll just see if.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nahid, for your nice presentation. The question I asked was about the third slide. I think you show some franchise business model where you said about the contribution of the aggregate input was 60% machinery, 16%, then buying and selling 24%, and the last one was the post-harvesting was 0%. So I was wondering, was it the profit share you mentioned something that I heard? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm interested why it's 0% in the post-harvesting case. Thank you.
Should we answer this question like one by one, or like we select a few and then?
Oh, I think if you can answer that one, go ahead while I collect a few more.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Dr. Fuad, for the question. I think that what that slide was saying is the profit earned by the hubs from those operations. So it's not necessarily profit sharing with anyone, but say if there are 350 hubs for the 6-month period, the amount of profit they earned, we have data, the SFSA has data on that, where they are showing that the gross return and the gross cost, and from there we have the profit earned for each activity. So from there we have seen that the among different avenues, they are earning the profit. This is profit of the hub, right? This is not for the farmer or anyone else. So the amount of profit the hubs made, 60% was coming from the selling of agricultural input. While you see the figure was very low for post-harvest, the post-harvest amount was low. That's because the post-harvest services they are providing that are not as widespread or as much as the other activities. It's not 0% that I said during the presentation. It's rounded to 0, but it's about 0.5%. I don't know if I've answered. The people from the SFSA Bangladesh team is also here, so if I don't know if they could supplement something.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Nahid, for your very good presentation. May I audible?
Yes, please go ahead, Fahad.
Yeah. One is that in the farmer hub, earlier at early stage we consider we have a different segment. Revenue segment was post-harvest handling that actually covers hub has a facility of plastic crates, transportation. But after that, actually we realized that all these post-harvest actually much more relevant with the forward market sales. That's actually we bundling the buying and selling part. So after that, actually we are not covering post-harvest as a different revenue stream. Rather, it's a combined offer of to the farmers as is that post-harvest handling, transportation, using the marketplace, weighing and selling to the market. So all is together actually now, yeah. So as we have changed our revenue stream and merged the revenue stream, post-harvest handling and buying and selling together, that's actually it shows 0. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Rolf, did you want to say something? Oh, no, you were talking to someone else. Sorry, apologies. There is a comment here from Hazel Parry, Nahid, and she was asking about smartphone internet coverage. This is definitely a limiting factor in Australia in terms of uptake of digital technology for producers. Just for the people outside of Bangladesh, could you give us an indication of how good your network coverage is and whether you consider that to be a limiting factor in some of the uptake of digital technologies?
Sure. I mean, I of course don't have the specific numbers about network coverage. I think most of our, majority part of the country has network coverage. And just yesterday, I was in another presentation where I see that there are more SIM cards in Bangladesh than the population of Bangladesh. So more SIM cards in operation in Bangladesh. So there is a wide degree of like mobile phone penetration, mobile phone use. But then, if you are asking about the quality of the network, that is of course not always satisfactory. I understand I wasn't always audible at the beginning of this presentation. So like imagine that in many rural areas in places where that can be a limiting factor. So again, I don't have any specific data on to the quality of the network coverage, but like that is a limiting factor.
Thank you very much. I've got a couple of questions here from Wayas Kabir, but I think Wayas is online. Do you want to try to unmute and ask your questions to Nahid?
Thank you, Professor Nahid. May I audible? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. I am Kishwit Mohammad Jafar Iqbal. Thank you for your nice presentation. I would like to ask you a question. Have you any findings after liberation and at present, or what is the difference? What is the difference of residual effect of agriculture product now, as well as what is the present situation of residual effect of pharma produce at present and after liberation?
I think I missed that one key word of your question. What is the difference of what is the variable?
Residual effect. Residual effect.
Residual
have any
effect
findings in vegetables and other cereal crops?
Residual effect of what? Like residual effect on soil or
residual effects of heavy metals.
Pesticides.
Yeah, I'm
arsenic.
sorry. I think that question is beyond the scope of this study, and there might be some people in the audience today who might be more qualified than me to answer that question. I don't know. We invited a few respected professors of BAU from the Department of Soil Science. I don't know if they have joined us. They could answer that better. But
Professor Nair, I want to another question. The Department of Agriculture working with farmers through farmers group,
right.
In a particular project like NATP. We formed different farmer groups, CIG and CCNC, and we provide through CCNC cooling van through them farmer carrying their goods and bring them to the marketing center. Are you studying what is the situation? What is the result of the CCNC or CIG? Have any findings?
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. I haven't studied that, but I think that is a very interesting initiative. What I would like to study is the sustainability of those initiatives. Like once the project support or the government initiative is not there, like how those perform. We have seen many initiatives like that, but to what extent they sustain in the long run, and maybe what are the reasons they say they don't succeed? What happens there? That is something I would like to study. I haven't studied, like this was not a part of this study, or yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to intervene because this was a very short study and the scope was quite limited, and it happened amidst the pandemic. So all areas could be studied.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I can see that Hasneen has her hand up. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask a question?
Okay, thank you, Serena, and thank you, Nahid, for your nice presentations. Actually, my question is not directly related to Nahid. I think maybe Either Nahid or maybe Farhad Bhai can answer those questions as it's related to SFCA. This my queries just to know more about SFSA. So my queries are that most of the SFSA works are related to seedling supplies, what I understood, and machinery hirings like this. So, or maybe I missed some points from Nahid's presentation, that what particular strategies you follow or activities have you taken to for helping the farmers in terms of marketing, like selling and buying their outputs. So, and also what kind of collaboration at present do you have with the local agricultural extensions department, because they are in the field in charge of the extension services of agricultural products. And third one is that there is a slide, but I couldn't follow very well, that the inclusion of women farmer in your hubs, like what percentage and what are the strategies of gender inclusion in this farmers hubs. So if you can just elaborate these few things in brief, it would enrich my knowledge. Thank you.
So maybe I can pass this question to Mr. Farhad Jamil Bhai, the head of SFSA in Bangladesh, right? So
thank you, Nahid. Many questions, so I will try to make it short. One is that actually Syngenta Foundation, our overall objective is to create bright future for smallholder in Bangladesh. So all of our work is around agriculture and smallholder development. And we do this by transferring sustainable technology and activation of value chain. So all of our work is technology and linking to the markets. So we have partnering with lot of large national and international private sector within the value chain. So in our effort, actually, Syngenta Foundation is trying to build a system to offer multiple agriculture or farming related services to the farmers at their doorstep by engaging rural youth entrepreneur, help them in establishing Farmers Hub, a one-stop commercial services platform that covers from input buy to output sales. So we have a lot of our effort for the output market. So we organize the contract farming system. We help them to plan based on the market demand and aggregate the produce to farmer hub and channel to the remunerative market, both national and international market. We have different segments, both fresh and processing. Right now, actually, we are working 200,000 smallholder farmers under 347 farmers hub, and all these farmers hub are actually digitally connected. So seedling is one of our technology that we commercialize, that any farmer come to the farmer hub, they will get quality seedling. Seedling itself increase the productivity 20 to 30% and also help them to reduce at least 1 month in the main field. And they will get machinery service that actually help them to their farm operation optimization. And most of our work is actually how farmer can get an efficient rule within the value chain. So a lot of our effort to product development and linking to the forward market. That is one. Second one is we are partnering with different knowledge or research organization, private sector, private players. At the same time, we have very good interaction with the Department of Agriculture Extension. But the model actually we are developing, that is actually the commercially driven agriculture extension model, reaching to the last mile farmers. Am I miss anything?
Gender. I think the gender.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, you know, in Bangladesh, we believe that in Bangladesh we have 50% are female, but without their proper inclusion, it is really difficult to say that actually we have real development. But in Bangladesh, sometimes in project design, gender lens sometimes missing. So women are engaged in agriculture sector, but sometimes actually it is not highlighted properly about their engagement and participation. That is in one fold. In another fold, sometimes they are involved with the homestead and light agriculture related work, light kind of agriculture works, but they are not actually going to the field due to thousands years old our cultural and social behavior. But what Syngenta Foundation did, we have a very flagship Santal livelihood improvement project. And in that project, 60% of our beneficiaries are female. And in Santal project, we have 25 farmers hub, and many of the farmers hub actually either run by the female or that is jointly run by the husband and wife. And female are mainly involved with the nursery management. And in our 347 farmers hub, each of the hub actually usually generate 3 to 7, 8 jobs, and of which nursery almost 80 to 90% are female. So for our Shatal project, that is actually very much our intervention design most on targeting the Santal women, and we also develop safe vegetable production, actually production group through Santal women, and also sister beneficiary model in rearing goats and others. So this is very limited time. So if you are more interested, that actually communicate with me or my team. Thank you so much.
I think one clarification is the Santal women, Santals are tribes, and Santal women are pretty empowered. It's a matriarchal society, so their participation can be seen clearly.
Thanks, Kuhu. Do we have time for one more question, or would you like me to call it quits there?
No, we can have one or
more?
two questions, quick one.
Well, there was one here from Gerard around, is access to finance included in the Syngenta Foundation's model? For example, loans to pay for inputs?
I don't think that is what a service offered right now, if I'm not wrong, like loan to farmers, providing loan to farmers to the hubs. If I'm not wrong, that is not provided as of now. Can I ask something? Is that we have one of the network managers, I think, Mr. Mojem Hussain, right, with us, and one hub owner, I think Mr. Rocky, if he's here. If they have any reflection, or like we first of all, thank you for your cooperation during the survey, but if they have any reflection or anything to add here, would you?
Please unmute yourself and go ahead if you can.
Yeah, I think Mr. Mojem Hussain is speaking, but yeah, you need to unmute. Yeah.
Actually, last 10 years, we are playing a role as a network manager of the Syngenta Foundation for the Sustainable Agriculture. Nice presentation, nice research. We are lot of things we learned from then, and next we are design the activities plan and business plans. I like to thanks research teams, Syngenta Foundation for Sustainable Agriculture, and all participants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I might wrap it up there. There's a lot more questions that we haven't answered here. By all means, get in touch with us, Nahid or myself, at any time if you want to provide any feedback or ask us any further details about this presentation. Otherwise, I'll hand back over to Kuhu.
Yeah, before I close, I wanted to do the ceremonial photograph. So can I ask everyone to put their videos on? Oh, okay. I have to take a picture for 2 screens. And I hope I'm successful. With the print screen. And the next one. Okay. I don't know whether I've not done this before.
Oh, Kuhu, I'm sure you've done it perfectly. I have faith in you.
So to wrap up, Robin, do you want to say a few words?
First, I have to find my unmute button. Really, just to say thanks for a really interesting seminar, a really valuable addition to the work that we've been doing about technology transfer in these systems. Lots of really interesting questions to follow up on, and I think some very promising directions for future work. So thank you very much for the study and for the seminar.
So thank you, everyone. And I think it was a very vibrant seminar, and thank you. Till we meet again, goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.